See what they got y'all all tied up with this racism stuff, this social injustice. They take away one of the big pictures. Child trafficking, minors. Who passing laws for a grown man to have sexual relationships with little kids? Democrats. Who fighting back against that? President Donald Trump. To make you wonder, think about something, huh? He fighting child trafficking of minors. Democrat passing laws so grown people could have sexual relationships with minors. He gonna want a sting operation. Just think about it.
Trafficking operations in Ohio's history. State and federal officials joined forces to help rescue more than 100 survivors. It's called Operation Autumn Hope, and this is footage of one of the raids in Ohio where authorities took down 177 people involved in human trafficking, including 14 individuals arrested in Mahoning County last week.
If you're using the internet to try and exploit or take advantage of underage individuals, we want it to be in the back of your head that you may be talking to one of us, and hopefully you will be talking to one of us. We're not going away. We're going to continue to do these types of stings.
109 survivors were rescued during the month of October. Green's agency, along with nearly 60 others, joined forces for Operation Autumn Hope. U.S. Marshals were able to close 84 missing child cases, where 45 children were rescued. 4 more returned home. 16 others were located.
There's estimates that around 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 of endangered runaways, which makes up the largest portion of these missing child cases, are being trafficked. Those are astounding numbers that we must collectively combat. We must recover these children.
During a news conference today in Columbus, law enforcement agencies and social service agencies joined Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost to announce the success of the operation. Columbus made 80 arrests, and in Franklin County, 8 men who traveled to central Ohio with the intent to have sex with children were arrested. Those involved in the operation say let this be a warning to those who are selling human beings and for those who are buying sexual services, that the next door you knock on could be that of an officer ready to arrest you.
An operation between federal and state officers recovered 35 at-risk missing children. A similar operation rescued 39 missing kids in Georgia. Behind all this success, a unit of the U.S. Marshals Service, the Sex Offender Investigations Branch, is made up of only 3 men working overtime to save as many kids as they can.
When I assumed this position as the branch chief of this Sex Offender Investigations Branch, my eyes were opened. There's over 430,000 missing kids a year in our country.
Of those, at least 65,000 are victims of the commercial sex industry.
We're trying to have an impact. We're trying to do the best we can with the resources we have in place.
Ongoing riots and violence against federal courthouses in Portland and elsewhere, however, are taking agents away from this important work.
But it's a zero-sum game. In order for us to deploy these resources, it detracts from other mission sets that are often equally as important. Our leadership is very passionate and supportive of this initiative, and we're trying to throw as many resources as we can to make an impact, but the reality is we're just scratching the surface.
These operations are also complicated because those rescued need special care.
Historically, we're cops and we catch bad guys, but we're catching good people now. We're catching kids. What resources do we need to have in place? Because it's not as simple as just turning this child over to somebody. And so we spent a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of talking with our partners, with Children's Hospital, with DCFS, with social services, to get these resources in place.
It takes an incredible amount of work to track down these monsters who are preying on America's children. And since the defund the police movement and the COVID crisis, a lot of police departments around the country just don't have the resources to do that. And that's where the body of Christ comes in. There's several ministries out there that are now packaging up the information that cops need and passing it along. One of them is All Things Possible Ministries, Victor Marx's outfit. His new chief operating officer is a guy that I went to Ranger School with like 100 years ago.
There are 150,000 new sex ads a day in America. They need help on the front end identifying the victim. They need that level of probable cause, reasonable suspicion. That's what we offer law enforcement. So we figure out who those girls are that are being sold, potentially who their trafficker is, and we push that information to law enforcement to take action. And then they will conduct an operation, a sting, and they will confront that girl and offer her a new life, a path to freedom.
And what they find is often chilling.
There are particular traffickers that will target Christian girls to get the small potatoes, to get the girl who comes from a broken, abusive relationship. That didn't stroke his ego. But for him to be able to pluck a pretty young woman from a Christian family in the suburbs and turn her out to be trafficked, that was an ego boost for him.
The Trump administration is taking action to put a stop to these heinous crimes.
Today, I'm happy to announce that the department is awarding over $100 million in grants across the country targeted at human trafficking. And these grants are going to support state, local, and tribal jurisdictions, victim service providers, task forces, and key research initiatives.
Being on the front lines makes these men realize law enforcement isn't the ultimate solution.
We as believers, we have to do a better job of protecting our young women. Parents have to talk to their daughters very candidly about what's out there, especially in this Christian bubble that a lot of us live in. We don't fully appreciate the evil that's out there and the evil that's trying to work its way into our lives.
We as a society need to look at this large number and start deploying resources and asking questions as to why there are so many missing kids. What are the underlying issues? And it's only then that we can address those and stop these high numbers. We're very happy about our recoveries, but there's a much larger problem that needs to be addressed and addressed holistically.
From Washington, D.C., I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
What an important story that's getting.
Heard that man said, right? Defund the police. Defund the police. The Democrats that y'all voted for, that took a knee. Black Lives Matter, took a knee. NFL, all of them that took a knee to defund the police. Plus them riots in Portland took away the resources for the sex trafficking. Do you not understand what I just said? The Black Lives Matter, the Democrat Party that y'all voted for, and all the people that took a knee in the protest, took away the resources for them to take care of this matter of sex trafficking underage kids. President Donald Trump, I believe he said $100 million. If I'm not mistaken, I might be a little bit off or whatever. He the one. Matter of fact, I ain't put it down there. Executive order for your child. Yeah, right.